something that he changed my life, and I love him for that. But every time Kanye has called on me, every single time, no matter what I was doing, within 1 day's notice, I'm wherever he's at, bro. And whether it's to contribute to him in the studio, whether it's to contribute a line, write a verse for him, he just take maybe parts of the verse, maybe the whole verse, maybe just to help him with his vibe, like just to help him catch a vibe wherever he's at in the world, bro. I've traveled around the world for this man every time he's called, and have done this and not asked for publishing a lot of the times. Why? Because he gave me a golden opportunity of signing to good music. Right. A lot of people are signing good music. I just want to keep that in mind. But not a lot of people nobody on good music has put out 5 LPs and back-to-back number ones, right? So for irony's sake, in 2015, when I won a VMA with Ye and John Legend, for irony's sake, for One Man Can Change the World, I was the first person to tweet Kanye for president.
What's up, blessed ones? This is Blair, your Cancer Care Bear, and we are here tonight. 'Twas the night on Christmas. So yeah, that was a clip of Big Sean on Drink Champs with Noriega and DJ FN addressing Kanye West and his comments that he made like about a month ago. And I haven't finished listening to the interview. I got like an hour left, a little under an hour left of the interview, but I did want to do a pod in regards to part of the interview, because Big Sean did mention, how he was grateful for having, been signed to good music, even though it was a shitty deal. Talked about how, he's owed millions of dollars from good music that has already been received. He had mentioned, Kanye West's love or obsession for Drake, and how he felt like it started from the Blessings record, which I believe was on Dark Skies Paradise or something. But two things about that interview that I've gotten, already have, listened to thus far. Was, like I said, Big Sean, like I said, man, I could tell that Big Sean has always been chill, humble guy. And yes, he has been seen to be the only artist on good music who has been consistent, putting out records, stayed on the label. And for him to be owed publishing, for him to be owed money, is just like surprising to me. This is kind of like, feels like the Birdman Lil Wayne thing, right? And again, this is In the Blair Podcast, episode 33, under 33. So, yeah, that's one thing, Big Sean's been loyal. He had talked about that also in the interview in the beginning. He was like, he'd rather have loyalty than respect, because he felt like even when you respect someone, you can fuck them over, but loyalty is like, that could be, you could be held to a fault. And I really wanted to address that, because that's one thing that is big in the culture. One thing that's big in a community and anything is loyalty, respect. And the crazy thing about it is, John Cena, his motto is hustle, loyal, respect. To me, I feel like respect is most important because I feel like if you respect someone enough or respect someone, you will be loyal to them. But after listening to what Big Sean explained, you can respect somebody and fuck them over because that's a momentary thing. Loyalty oftentimes is forever. After a while, anyway. So I just want to go back and say, like, it's kind of wild where, it's almost like those of you who have seen The Last Dance, where it was like, Michael Jordan and his career with the Bulls and relationship with Phil Jackson and all that stuff. Like, it almost feels like that because it's like, hey, Scottie Pippen usually gets the short end of the stick. Without Michael Jordan, there's no Scottie Pippen and vice versa. And I guess, Scottie Pippen felt like, hey, Michael, it was like, it should have been more, I guess, in a sense, Scottie Pippen felt like it should have been like a little bit more about, him as well, not just Michael Jordan and all stuff. But like, again, from what I know, it was Michael Jordan's documentary. Scottie Pippen has a big contribution to who Michael Jackson, who Michael Jordan is. And part of me feels like, hey, man, like, this is true. I mean, but you can say that with anybody. You can say that with a lot of people. Like, when they was playing on the Drink Champs, he was asking Big Sean as far as like, hey, Wayne or Drake? And then he said Lil Wayne, because without Lil Wayne, there would be no Drake. And to some sense, I agree. So it's almost like there's always going to be this unfair bias because we don't really necessarily know where someone's going to be if they didn't have this person. Now, granted, Pippen carried the Bulls for about a year and a half to the playoffs while Michael Jordan was gone, while he left to play baseball. Pippen stayed. And a lot like Big Sean, he talked about how he stayed on good music. He's been the most successful. He's been the most loyal. And, you can respect somebody for being loyal to you, especially to a fault. But then it's also at the same time, it's like you're not going to, respect anyone who fucked you over. So I definitely agree with that. Loyalty is bigger than respect. And the reason why I used that Scottie Pippen analogy was because, again, it's like we put Jordan on a pedestal. And it was just, not, him being able to do what he was able to do. Like I said, it was like Michael Jordan was flying in air like no man can stop him. He's unstoppable. But it just makes you also wonder, is like, would we see these highlights? Would we see how great he is without the team he had put together and had around him? Because let's see if you have, again, I'm not going to sit here and get a whole statistic review and discuss something that I'm not all the way, confident about. But just think about if you had LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, Iverson, Shaq. Some of these guys we put on our Mount Rushmore. This is mine if we had them all on one team. And a lot of these players, especially like Kobe and Mike, they have similar, traits. Rest in peace to Kobe, and it's like, okay, all right, who would be this? Like, would Jordan still be the man on that team? Because we seen them like they all played against each other. I mean, except for LeBron that never played against Jordan or not. But you have guys like Allen Iverson, who was one of the greatest without the ring. But in all hindsight, I wanted to just address that what Big Sean said about Kanye West. He admitted, yes, he changed his life. He talked about how at first he thought it was funny when Kanye West said, hey, what the worst thing I did was sign Big Sean, because again, it's like, I was just with you. You didn't say any of that. But then he talked about how he was hurt behind it. Because I would think, they have a relationship outside of business. Like he said, he was always there for him. And like I said, when somebody that you admire, especially when this is a peer of yours, and then like you start rapping more, like imagine you're someone who wants to get into film, like myself, like, right? So, and then like, okay, and let's say Spike Lee or Tyler Perry or Ryan Coogler, they take me under their wing. Guys who I respect and admire, guys who I aspire to, at some point get on their level of, just writing and directing and whatnot. And then, they take me under their wing. I mean, there's going to be some relationships built. And like I said, I don't think it was just all business. Because there was also another comment that Big Sean talked about with J. Cole and Kendrick. He was like, J. Cole opened me up to his home. Kendrick been to his house, but I never been to his. But it was just like a certain level of class there, a certain level of respect there. So I can imagine being in Big Sean's shoes. Like I say, he felt humiliated, he felt hurt, because like he got a whole city looking at him. Because though Kanye is the big bro, the OG, the mentor, like he's the boss, you gotta be a man first. You gotta stand on your own. You gotta like stand up for yourself and get some sense, and that's what Big Sean did. So like I said, the interview was great, so shout out to Drink Champs. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Revolt. Because I look and I think about certain stuff, about my own personal relationship, and that's part of why I wanted to pod tonight. It's like you could be loyal to someone, and you just almost like because you're loyal to them, there's certain things you're gonna let slide. Because it's like loyalty and love. Loyalty and love is, they can be the same, but they can also be different. And just like Big Sean talked about with, loyalty and respect, so under those same lines. Because like I said, when you love somebody, you're going to give them, like sometimes they're going to need that tough love. Like you're going to be loyal to them, but like I guess it just all depends on how people look at certain things. Not everybody look at loyalty the same. And I think that's where Kanye kind of got things twisted, because like he mentioned, I mean, what did Sean say? Kanye was for president. And Kanye West's excuse for saying the worst thing he did was sign Big Sean. He talked about how he was endorsing, endorsing against him and John Legend. And I'm like, Kanye West now is ego tripping. Because even though, according to Big Sean, that wasn't the case. So even though you put somebody on or you looked out for somebody, it's almost like you can't disagree with them or have a different opinion. To me, that's really messed up, to be honest. I was like surprised. I was even more surprised, as far as when he said he was owed millions of dollars. And I mean, maybe that's, if Kanye West is, well, from last of my knowledge, Pusha T was the president of good music. Kanye West, like I said, he's like, he was whatever, he's the creator or CEO or whatever. But, at whatever direction, regardless of who's running it, Kanye West has the power to pay that man. Like, you have power to pay that man. And me personally, and maybe this is just me being ignorant, but in business or personal, like, even if I personally have it, and then it's like, okay, if my company, who I'm the face of, I'm the one who's behind it, or even if I'm not behind it, but if I'm the face of a company, and I owe someone who's working under me or working for that company, and saying that they're not getting cheated, saying that they're getting robbed, they're getting cheated and whatnot, and this old money. Just me personally, regardless of who takes care of that, like, being that you're a multi-millionaire, billionaire, and one of your artists or one who works under you, you should definitely come out the pocket and pay that man. Me personally, that's what I would do. Sometimes it's better to do things on your own, yes. But if you have, like I said, if you're a major company like Good Music, and regardless of if they're imprint or whatnot, but like I said, when we think Good Music, we think of Kanye West. When we think of Big Sean and Pusha, but mainly so Kanye West. And like I said, I love Big Bro myself, and like I said, one day, hopefully, I'll meet him one day, I can pick his brain one day. But the thing about it is, you gotta pay what you owe. And one thing that I know for sure is that I have my own struggles with that as well. And I've been down that road too. Been down that road where I am owed, like where I owe. I mean, I still owe student loans. But the worst thing also is to know that you're owed money and you don't get it. So that's where it comes into complications, because it's like everything comes full circle. Right? But it's like, no matter what field you're in, no matter what type of work you do, whether you're a musician, whether you're an athlete, whether you're just working a regular 9-to-5 job like me. I work at AutoZone, and I'm loyalty to a fault as well. But like I said, I've been at many different companies. I work for many different companies, but I stayed with them because of my loyalty. I stayed with them because of the experience I was trying to attain. I had got many job offers since working at my current company. Were paying more, but it's like, I want to get all I can out of this company until I've mastered and reassessed and readjusted to how to run things. Because again, I am a manager So there's certain things that I'm responsible for. And sorry, I'm tired. There's certain things that I'm responsible for, and me personally, even putting in 2 weeks. Like any job I had, I never really put in my 2 weeks. But it's almost like sometimes I just feel like it's time to go. But that's why. But I never left abruptly or anything like that. I always communicated because when like I said, no matter what you're doing, when you're a loyal person, you're a loyal person. It's not gonna always be like a business decision. Say, look, I'm about to do this because I want to go here. But no, there's sometimes when you're just a loyal person, sometimes you stick it out until things get better because you're loyal. You will feel disloyal if you leave somebody wet and dry, even if they shit on you, fuck you over, whatnot. But that's just human nature. So shout out to Big Sean, respect to Big Sean for being a loyal guy, man, being a stand-up guy. Like I said, I was listening to, like, I believed him. I felt, like I said, he was genuine. I believed, like, man, this guy been through some things. But I believed him first and foremost. I believed everything he was saying in the interview. This humble guy, man, like those are the type of people that you want in your life. Those type of people you want to be around you. You know what I'm saying? And if y'all haven't listened to the interview yet, I suggest y'all listen to it. Y'all heard the clip in the beginning. You can go on, like I said, YouTube and look at it. You can go on Apple Music, Spotify, and listen to it. You know what I'm saying? And then, just to shift gears real quick, I do want to address something else because, like I said, I don't want to be too long tonight. It is Christmas, and I do want to. Address some other things. Jay-Z is denying the Verzuz, but I personally think that he's ducking. He was in this chat, and what's they've been talking about the last couple of days now. I'm not 100% sure who else was in the chat. I think Alicia Keys was in the chat, but he was in this chat talking about how he admires everybody. He thinks everybody's great and amazing, but nobody can stand against him in the Verzuz, especially if it's going to be for 2 hours. I forgot what song he said he would do. He was going to perform, or he would perform, and it's like you can't stand in the ring with me. A lot of people got over themselves and talked about Lil Wayne. I love Wayne, but no, he's not it. We might sometimes feel like Wayne is he might be a good choice, but against Jay is different. You know what I'm saying? Wayne got some hits, but like, what is Wayne saying? What is Wayne actually saying? Yeah, it would be a mixed match. Wayne definitely got the records. But if Verzuz is about celebrating the culture and giving everybody their flowers and all that stuff while they're here, and I get that. But Wayne and Jay-Z, I think they do that because they say their last name's Carter. Wayne's been he's been consistent. He probably don't have the timing that Jay has, but he's been putting out records. Like Wayne got a big following and a big catalog. Not just with the features, but also with, he has the Hot Boys, has the Squad Up, has the Young Money, like all that stuff he can pull from. And yeah, Jay has, his records, and then he has the, other, his features, even like I said, his album with Beyonce, the Queen. But like I said, I don't think Wayne and Jay is. I mean, that'll be fun to see on paper, but it would just be interesting to see how the vibe and all that stuff shifts up. And even people will say Nas, like, yeah, Nas of course got the records too. But I mean, that's something typical. Like, that's normal. Like, we can expect that. Ye, Drake, all these guys competitive and stuff. I mean, me personally, like I said, even though I don't feel like it would, Busta would beat Jay in the verses, but for Jay to just up and say, nobody can go head to head with him. He don't think nobody can, see him in the verses. I call cap. Because we already know that verses could be one thing, but it can turn to another thing. Just look at Jadakiss, how he did at the Dipset Locks verses. You know what I'm saying? I remember, like, in the beginning of this thing, we was all on the internet FaceTiming. They was doing FaceTime verses, then it became like a head-to-head thing. And that's just pretty much my take on it. Nas did just drop an album again, Magic. He's been dropping some stuff, man. Nas, man, like, people be forgetting, but that's neither here nor there. I think Jay and Busta, well, even maybe Busta and L. Busta and L would probably be great verses. Like, I keep saying this. Jay and Wayne sounds good on paper. And I'm not to sit here and say, hey, it wouldn't be great. But it's just like one of those things, like, some dream matches aren't going to happen. Some makeups aren't deserving of collaborations. And that was one of the things that also that stood out. And like in the Big Sean's Drake Chance interview, when he talked about how without Wayne, there would be no Drake. And I mean, we don't know that 100% sure. Because we can also say, without Juvie, without Birdman, there would be no Wayne. And to me, Wayne has kind of like stood on his own. Yeah, there's people who had contributed to the start of your success. But I think it's just all about, longevity and how you sustain your career. So to say, without this person won't be here, maybe so. And I think it's one of those things where it's like it doesn't matter because that's not the case. But it's just like, hey, like, because again, Wayne already said, he wouldn't go up against a guy, you can't bounce with a guy, like everybody's a student of Jay. And I think, Jay is a student, like I said, a student of Nas, Big Daddy Kane. But like everybody, like a lot of the other, like it's always like there's that generation, you know what I'm saying? You got the LLs, the Big Daddy Kanes. Then you got the Nas's, the Jays, the Busters. Then you got the Waynes, the T.I.s, the list goes on, like generation. I mean, hip hop's been around for a minute. So yeah, maybe there's a chain here. You got Jay, right? So say Jay is the bar, he's up there, top of the top. Yeah, he's kind of stood the test of time longer than any other artist. Nas as well, but Jay's been like, I think he's been a little bit more consistent than Nas. And then, you have people who's after him, just a little bit after Jay, like got 50, Wayne. And then, you got the Drakes, the Kendricks. And then you have, like I said, like again, Big Sean. Without Kanye West, there would be no Big Sean, but without Jay, there would be no Kanye West. So it's a list of cycles, but it's all about standing the test of time. But that's just my opinion. So I think like I said, once again, certain artists has surpassed their glory days, or something, surpassed their rise of fame. But like I said, Jay and Wayne sounds good on paper. It might, like I said, it might even be a good verse. Certain things is just like, it's just like certain thoughts. We all think something's gonna be good, but we all think something's gonna be bad too. I mean, probably just don't really care to see it like that. But I like I said, I'll just be more interested in seeing, hey, who they gonna put against Buster? Because now if Jay's talking about he wouldn't do it, because Jay said he wouldn't do it, Dr. Dre said he wouldn't do it. I think Nas said he wouldn't do it neither, and I think even Chris Brown said he wouldn't do it. So it's like you have certain artists who already said they wouldn't do it publicly, but then you have other guys that said they would do it. Because I would love to see Usher and Chris Brown. Usher definitely said he would do it. Buster said he would do it. I think LL even said he would do it. I don't think I think Ice Cube said he wouldn't do it because another person who I wanted to see go against Cube was L. Cube and L, I feel that would be crazy. I mean, even though like there's still different styles in a sense there. But these are like the two OGs. Like these are the two of my OGs. Like I said, these guys been in it since like the late '80s. They've been in it since like almost the early years of hip hop, almost. But that's pretty much all I have. Certain things are left unsaid, but that's just being part of. It's just a game sometimes, and as always, blessed ones, again, stay safe, stay prosperous, stay productive, stay positive. Shout out to all the listeners. Shout out to all the subscribers. Shout out to everybody who contribute to the podcast. Whether in the views, whether in the mentions, whether even in a thought, because we can manifest our destiny. And this is Blair, your Cancer Care Bear. Thank you for listening. I'm out.
And the Bay Podcast.